The first time I saw him, I was covered in dirt and sweat, and he looked like he had stepped out of a dream. That's the cruel joke of California vineyards. You spend your days breaking your back under the sun, only to be reminded how effortlessly beautiful someone else can be. His name was Daniel. Mine, Ethan. He arrived late in the season, when the grapes were already heavy on the vines, the harvest looming. Everyone else treated him like the new kid quick jokes, instructions barked too fast, the unspoken test of whether he'd make it through the grind. But I noticed something different. The way his hands trembled when he tied the vines. The way he bit his lip as if swallowing words. The way he looked at me, just a second too long, then quickly away. I wasn't supposed to care. Vineyard work was temporary. A paycheck until I figured out what the hell to do with my life. But the nights in Napa Valley had a way of peeling you open. After a day of sunburns and sore muscles, we'd sit on the edge of the field with cheap beer, looking up at the kind of stars you forget exist when you live in the city. And that's when it happened. One night, his shoulder brushed mine, and I didn't move. He didn't either. "Do you ever feel like you're wasting your life?" he asked suddenly, voice cracking against the silence. I laughed, but it wasn't funny. Every damn day, his eyes flicked toward me, and for the first time, I saw him not as the nervous new guy but as someone carrying a storm inside. Something in me wanted to step into it, even if it destroyed me. It was stupid, dangerous. But then he leaned closer, and the scent of earth and grapes clung to his shirt. My chest tightened, my breath caught, and before I could stop myself, I kissed him. Just once. Soft, quick, like a mistake we could erase. But the way his lips trembled against mine told me it was no mistake at all. When we pulled apart, the night seemed louder, the crickets shrill, the stars glaring down as if they'd witnessed a sin. His face was flushed, his hands trembling at his sides. "Ethan," he whispered, my name breaking on his tongue. I wanted to tell him I'd dreamed about this, that I'd thought about it since the first day. But I only said, "We shouldn't." The vineyard had its unspoken rules: work hard, keep quiet, and never, ever complicate things. And men kissing under the stars was the kind of complication that could ruin you. Still, he didn't move away. His blue eyes locked on mine, a war of fear and longing raging inside them. "I don't care," he said, almost too soft to hear. I froze, because I did care. Caring meant wanting more. Wanting more meant getting hurt. The next morning, everything was the same and nothing was. We worked side by side, shoulders brushing as we cut the clusters of grapes. He avoided my gaze, but when our hands met reaching for the same vine, his fingers lingered for a heartbeat too long. My chest burned with everything we weren't saying. Nights became torture. I'd lie awake on the cot in the workers' quarters, listening to his breathing in the bunk across the room. Close enough to touch, yet worlds apart. I wanted to roll over, whisper his name, and let the stars decide what happened next. But I was a coward. Then came the storm. California skies don't cry often, but when they do, they tear you open. The rain came hard and sudden, forcing us to run for shelter. We ended up in the storage shed, dripping wet, clothes clinging to our skin. His blonde hair stuck to his forehead. His lips parted as he laughed, breathless. And God, I wanted him. He saw it. He always saw right through me. Without a word, he stepped closer, his hand brushing against mine, lingering. My pulse raced so hard I thought I'd pass out. "We can't," I said, though my body betrayed me, leaning into his warmth. "Then tell me to stop," he whispered, voice rough with desperation. But I didn't. Our lips crashed together, fierce and hungry this time, like we'd been holding our breath for weeks and finally exhaled. His hands clutched at my shirt, mine tangled in his damp hair, and the world outside ceased to exist. For a moment, I believed in forever. But forever was a dangerous word, because when the kiss broke, reality slammed back in. The vineyard wasn't just a place of stars and secrets. It was a small town, with eyes everywhere and whispers that spread faster than wildfire. And Daniel, he had secrets he hadn't told me yet. The night after the storm, Daniel wouldn't look at me. He moved through the rows like a ghost, cutting grapes with quick, precise motions, his jaw tight, his shoulders rigid. I tried to convince myself the kiss had been nothing more than heat and rain and loneliness, but my body still ached with the memory of his mouth on mine. Finally, I cornered him by the shed. "Daniel," I said, breathless, "we need to talk." "No, we don't." His voice was cold, but his hands trembled as he shoved the shears into his belt. "Whatever that was, it can't happen again." I should have agreed. I should have let him walk away, but I couldn't. "You think I can just forget it?" His eyes snapped to mine, sharp and pained. "Yes, because you have to." There was a storm in him, bigger than the one that had drenched us. And I realized he wasn't pushing me away because he didn't want me. He was terrified because he did. Days blurred into weeks. We worked shoulder to shoulder, hands brushing, eyes meeting across the vineyard rows. Every glance a reminder of what we weren't saying. Nights were worse. I'd lie awake, listening to his breathing, burning with all the words I swallowed. And then it happened the moment everything cracked open. A Saturday evening, the crew went into town for drinks. Daniel stayed behind, claiming he was tired. I almost went with the others, but something in me refused to leave him alone. I found him sitting on the porch of the farmhouse, staring out at the dark vineyard, a bottle of beer untouched beside him. "You're hiding," I said softly, lowering myself onto the step. He laughed bitterly. "You don't even know what I'm hiding from. Then tell me." Silence stretched, broken only by the cicadas. Finally, he said, "Back home, my father found out about me, about who I am. He called me a disgrace, said if I stayed, I'd ruin everything. So I left." His voice cracked, raw and jagged. "And now I'm here, picking grapes like none of it matters. Like I don't matter." My chest ached. I wanted to reach for him, to hold him, to promise he mattered more than he could ever know. "Daniel." But he shook his head, tears glinting in the starlight. "You don't get it, Ethan. If people here find out, if anyone finds out, I'll lose this too. I can't risk it. I can't risk us." I took a shaky breath. "But you already have." The words hung between us, fragile and dangerous. He looked at me then, really looked, and something in his eyes broke. He reached for my hand, fingers brushing mine tentatively, like a man stepping off a cliff. And I didn't pull away. That night, under the vast California sky, he kissed me again. Not with desperation, not with fear, but with a tenderness that gutted me. His lips were soft, his breath trembling. And when he pulled back, he whispered, "I'm scared of how much I want this." "So am I," I admitted. We didn't have answers. We didn't have promises. But we had the vineyard, the stars, and the warmth of each other's hands. And for the first time, that felt like enough. The harvest ended too soon. Trucks loaded with grapes rolled out, and the crew began to scatter, each of us drifting back to lives beyond the rows. Daniel packed his duffel with quiet movements, avoiding my gaze. "This isn't goodbye," I blurted, heart hammering. He hesitated, shoulders tense. "Then what is it?" I swallowed hard. "It's the start of something, if you'll let it be." He turned slowly, his blue eyes shimmering with doubt and hope all at once. "You'd really want that? After all of this?" I stepped closer, pressing my forehead to his, breathing him in. "I don't just want one night under the stars. I want mornings, arguments, messy, ordinary days. I want you." His breath caught, and then he smiled, the kind of smile that lit up the whole damn vineyard. Weeks later, we drove south along Highway 1, the Pacific crashing against cliffs to our right, the horizon wide and endless. Daniel sat beside me, sun spilling across his hair, his hand resting in mine on the gearshift. He laughed at something stupid I said, the sound filling the car like music. For the first time in years, I wasn't running. Neither was he. Love wasn't easy. It wasn't safe. But as the stars began to blink awake above the ocean, I realized it didn't have to be. Because sometimes, against all odds, you find someone worth risking everything for. And in a vineyard in California, I had found mine. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.